A federal judge has blocked a new amendment to the Oklahoma Constitution that prohibits state courts from using Sharia law when deciding cases. Now, the temporary restraining order, which will remain in effect until November 22nd, and a hearing was handed down in response to a lawsuit filed by the executive director of Oklahoma's Council on American Islamic Relations, who argued the law was a violation of his constitutional rights. Now, on Election Day, voters overwhelmingly approved the measure, with 70% supporting it. Now, legal experts say the amendment is unnecessary because there's no danger of Sharia law overtaking the U.S. justice system. So if it really is unnecessary and it's just symbolic, what's the problem? States pass laws all the time that are purely symbolic. Now, meanwhile, nearly a year after he announced his original decision to hold the 9/11 trials in New York, the Attorney General Eric Holder now says he is close to making a final decision on where to try them. Here with reaction to all of this is nationally syndicated radio talk show host on the Salem Radio Network, partner at the law firm Hewitt Walensky. Hugh Hewitt is here, and filmmaker and friend of Faisal Abdul Rauf. Shaheen Harney is back with us. You know, your friend Shaheen, he wants America to be, you're friends with Faisal, right, and his wife?
Yes, I am.
Okay. He wants America to be more Sharia compliant. Here's the fundamental question before we get to Oklahoma. Is Sharia law at odds with the U.S. Constitution as it is applied in Islamic states?
No, actually, whatever that's being applied today in America in terms of Sharia
I didn't
practices,
ask you that. Answer my question. Where Sharia law, for example, where women, for example, can't drive, they can't be seen in public with men, males that they are not married.
Excuse me. Drive because
is it compliant with the U.S. Constitution?
It depends on what exactly you're talking about with Sharia. If you're talking about women can drive, that actually doesn't exist except in Saudi Arabia. Women can drive, Sean.
Okay, but I'm saying as is applied.
Define exactly what it is, and then we can apply it to the Constitution.
Excuse me. There was recently in the United Arab Emirates a Supreme Court decision, Hugh Hewitt, that actually approved the right of a husband to beat his wife. So there are different aspects of Sharia law. I'm asking, as it is applied in any Islamic state, do you see that it is in compliance with the U.S. Constitution?
Hey, Sean, it's very straightforward. The answer is no, it's not.
Thank you.
Sharia, it cannot be reconciled with the American Constitution, and Oklahoma Statute 755 is not unconstitutional in making that very simple assertion. It's a lot of hullabaloo about nothing because this is a very unremarkable statute. It's a very unremarkable statement that Sharia cannot be reconciled with the American Constitution.
Shaheen?
Sharia law is just like Jewish law. It's a system of principles that guide people in their religious practice, from daily prayer to fasting to giving charity to marriage to inheritance, etc. It's a system that applies only to Muslims, and it doesn't apply to other people.
Well, let's talk about,
for example, when it's being contested in court.
In some countries,
when it's being
women, then if they are raped,
Sean, it's done in line with the U.S. law, civil law.
No, it's not.
So,
no, it's
and
not.
that has happened.
No, it's
not. No,
not.
it has.
No,
it has.
It's not.
The New Jersey case, the New Jersey court, when the decision that was not in, and it was overturned. Why? Because it should be in line with our U.S. law. So where's the threat?
Wait a minute. But there are certain aspects. We have Saudi Arabia. We have in other countries where women are stoned to death. Women, if they are victims of rape, need 4 male eyewitnesses. This is the real-life application of Sharia law in Islamic countries.
Application of Sharia law, Sean, where? In 2 or 3 Muslim countries out of more than 50. We cannot use the actions of few countries and generalize and say this is what 1.5 billion Muslims practice around the world.
But this is right. This has been tried in European countries, Hugh, and those countries are moving away from it as quickly as they can because it is not compatible.
Yeah, I think, Sean, it's very important to recognize, and I want to speak slowly here. I don't want to rush through this so that Shaheen has a chance to understand. When the Archbishop of Canterbury in February of 2008 called upon the United Kingdom to become ready for parallelism for the institutionalization of Sharia courts, there was an enormous blowback, even though there are many dozen Sharia courts in the United Kingdom. I think what Americans are concerned about is parallelism in the United States, where individuals want to try and import into American law the precepts of religious practice. That's unconstitutional under the Constitution. It would be unconstitutional for a Roman Catholic. It would be unconstitutional for Jews. But they have not tried to do that, as has been tried in the United Kingdom. So I think that she's being disingenuous when she refuses to recognize there is a move in many places in the world, especially in the United Kingdom right now, to import Sharia law into otherwise common law or statutory law systems. That's very menacing, it's very disturbing, and what the Oklahoma statute simply says, and the reason it's constitutional, is that will not be accepted in American courts and ought not to be accepted by American courts. International law, fine, if we've agreed to it, if we've adopted a treaty. I'm sure, for example, your guests will agree that...
The 30,000...
let me just finish one thing. I'm sure that you will agree that Israel has a right to exist. That's international law. That's been accepted by the United Nations. That's the kind of international law which is binding. It is not, however, international law that's imported backdoor.
Basically, the 30,000 Muslims in Oklahoma did not actually lobby for introducing Sharia in courts. They don't much care about using it. But what's happening is this has been pushed by this anti-Muslim fervor that there's a threat of Sharia, which basically doesn't apply to other people, only applies to Muslims, and infringing on that right is infringing on their rights, and it's a violation of the First Amendment.
It applies to Sharia law because of the application in many countries. We've got to run. And